Hi, this is Chris Heiser from Internet 2 and University of Pennsylvania, and this is Grouper Training for End Users, the Lite User Interface Memberships Part 2. We'll give an introduction to the Lite UI again. In Part 1 we covered getting started, finding a group, searching for a member, and adding and removing members. And in Part 2 we're going to cover import and export, start and end dates, and other advanced features. So again, in the grouper architecture diagram, the Lite UI is part of the other UIs. That is a UI server that runs the grouper engine and talks to the grouper database. So to export a group list in the advanced menu, you can export only IDs or all info of the users, and it'll export a comma-separated values file. So if you're in the Lite UI for a group and you go to export all member data or just IDs, it'll give you a link to download, and that link will be a CSV file that you could open with something like Excel. So as you can see, there are columns for the source, which if it's a group it's a different source, or sometimes different users are in different sources. The ID, which will typically be your university ID or possibly your net ID. And then all the attributes that are configured to be sent with exporting people, so name, description, etc. And then over here there's a success column. As long as that's T for everybody, then everyone could be resolved. And if it's a F, then maybe there'll be an error message in this column. So when you import a group list back, it's going to be a CSV file again. And if you don't have any column names and you just have one column, you can just put, I think, entity IDs or identifiers, which could be your university ID or a net ID. Or you could have a column for your data. And if you know it's an entity ID, if you exported it that way, then you can have that column and then your IDs for the users. Entity identifier is another identifier that could look up the user, but it's not the primary one. But that could be the net ID or the EPPN or something else. And then entity ID or identifier will try one, and if it can't find it, try the other one. And if you know the sources of the users, then the import process will be more efficient. If you don't, and there are no conflicts, then you can omit that column. So basically I can take my export list and I can delete some rows from it, and I could add some more rows. And note that it's just prompting me that it's a CSV. So I'll just say yes and save it as a CSV. And I'm just going to add a couple more items in the source ID column, because I know the source ID, and the entity ID column, because I know these users' entity IDs, and these users aren't currently in the list. So I can save that. Now this file has a weird file name with parentheses in it and everything, and I think that's okay, but I'm just going to rename it. So that it's a more sensible name. And now go back to the group, and instead of export I'll import. And I have two options. I can either add more members to the group if I don't check this box, or if I do, then it'll replace all the members that are there, and that's what I want to do because I removed some of the members. So now I'll find that file. So this will tell you how many adds and deletes you had, and now the membership list is in line with the comma separated values that you imported. Another option is you can just import on the screen. So here we have entity IDs, one on each line. We can delete some of those and import. And there it says we just deleted 7 members. You can assign start and end dates. An end date will have a member automatically removed after a certain date in the future, and a start date will have the membership start in the future if you want to automatically onboard at some point coming up. So I can take any one of these members, or I could search for a member, and this little drop down here, if you left click on it, first of all you could see the member details, which will show you whatever attributes are configured for the member, and the other thing you can do is edit start and end dates. When you click that, a panel will come up and you could have the membership start on a certain date and this is the year, 4-digit year, and then the 2-digit month, and then the 2-digit day. So this would be April 5th of 2013 because I want that to be in the future. So now Barry Dolphin, his membership will not be in the list right now, but it will be after that date. So he's not there anymore. Similarly, you could assign an end date. And now that member will still be in the list, but until this end date, and it'll show that on the screen for you so that you can have that information. So you can page through the result lists. You can change the page size and you can sort the list. So in this case I have 53 members in my group, so that means there's more than one page. I can click next or the page number that I want to go to, and it'll show the next list. So this is record 51 through 53. And if there are different ways to sort the list configured in your system, you could sort based on something else like first name, last name, if that's configured. So there are other advanced features. You can see the group details, member details, and multiple delete. So if you click advanced features, if you left click on this, you can say show group details, and now more information will show right here about this group. Generally things that you don't need to worry about, which is why they're hidden by default. The delete multiple I may have shown last time, you can have checkboxes so that it's quicker to delete multiple members at once. The member details I already showed. If you left click on this little triangle next to the member, it'll show various attributes about the member configured in the system. And that's it. So click on the quiz link in the video description to reinforce your knowledge of this topic. And thank you very much. For more information, see the info sheets, mailing list, wiki, downloads, etc.